How's it going, folks? Been a while. Um, for those of you who are on the amazing Facebook page for the YouTube comic community, aptly titled YouTube Comic Community, um, may have noticed that I think probably a month or two ago, I said I had a pretty good pickup and I was making a video on it and I was going to post it. That never happened because I tried to do it twice and I didn't like both of the outcomes and then I just got too lazy. So now I'm going to do that. But on Wednesday, I went into the comic store and I had no new issues come in for me. Um, I just had no series that I was following come out on that day. So I said, well, I drove all the way out to the store. You know, I'm not leaving empty handed. What happened was I bought one single issue from the week before, I believe, that came out the week before, and I bought 3 trade paperbacks. So I'm going to show those first, and I'm going to show the haul that I got about a month or two ago. Um, so, yeah, let's get into it. First things first, the single issue that I picked up was Suicide Squad number 20, written by Al Scott. I don't know if it's Al Scott. I've heard it pronounced Alshcott, so I'm going to call him that. And Patrick Zircher. And this is the first issue of them working on this title. Before then, I don't even know who was working on it because honestly I wasn't paying attention to it because it just seemed like one of those New 52 books that I just would not give a flying fuck about. So I was just like, I don't care. And then it had some like tie-ins to like Death in the Family and Court of the Owls, I believe, but no one really paid attention to it other than the fact that Harley Quinn was one of the main characters in it. The basic premise for the Suicide Squad is that there's a team fronted by a woman by the name of Amanda Waller, and she basically takes supervillains and to repay their debt to society and make their jail sentences less, she puts them on this team called Suicide Squad, which basically they do the dirty work and they do very, very hard and impossible missions. And I've got to say, with this new creative team, I'm all in. The payoff at the end, and I'm going to spoil it here, payoff at the end is, okay, basically throughout the issue, you see that Amanda is talking to this guy who's basically, his job is to basically psychologically profile all of the members. And the members are Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Unknown Soldier, Shark King, who's an obscure DC villain, a wacky old DC villain, and there was like someone else. I can't fucking remember who it is, but whatever. And you know he's analyzing all of them, and he's going through all of them, and at the end of the issue, it's revealed to be James Gordon Jr. And those of you know, James Gordon Jr. was the main antagonist for Batman: The Black Mirror, or Scott Snyder's Detective Comics run. And I never read it. I had a few issues of The Black Mirror, and I kind of read it out of continuity or out of sequence. And but yeah, all I know is that James Gordon Jr. is basically like the Hannibal Lecter of the DC universe, and yeah, I'm all on board. The writing was sharp, the artwork was great, and yeah, I'm highly recommended. Okay, so first trade paperback. You probably noticed by my videos, I'm not the biggest Marvel guy. I like Marvel. I don't hate Marvel by any stretch of the imagination. Some of the best books that are being published right now are being published through Marvel Now's initiative. You know, Thor: God of Thunder, etc., so forth. And one character that I used to have reverence for that I really don't anymore is Spider-Man. I used to love Spider-Man as a kid. I mean, what kid didn't? And, you know, I used to watch the cartoon, and I remember when the film came out, my dad took me and all that stuff. And I just used to have nothing but reverence for the character, but now I don't really fucking care about Spider-Man. And admittedly, the Superior Spider-Man stuff, it just doesn't seem like my cup of tea. Some people love it, some people hate it, and I'm just like, I don't think I'd care about it, so I didn't go near it. But this title, when it came out, I didn't get it in issues, and I remember when it was coming out in issues and I saw it, I was a little bit interested, but I was like, it's only like 4 or 5 issues. I'm gonna wait, and that wait definitely paid off. Spider-Man, written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Sarah Pichelli, and this was so great. It was just a great little crossover comic, the way it ought to be. Yeah, first it starts off kind of slow and all that stuff, but you know what? There's not much of a point to this other than the fact that it's fucking cool. When Miles Morales showed up, when Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe died, I was basically like, oh, that's interesting. You know, they're taking it back to a younger character. Um, you know, they're making Spider-Man a black, half Hispanic kid. And this was during the height of the whole Donald Glover thing where he said he wanted to audition as Spider-Man, which honestly I thought he would have made a better Spider-Man than the fucking shithead they got to play in Amazing. But that's just me. And it seemed interesting, and he seemed like a cool character. He seemed like it's like, it seemed like such like I don't know the good word for what a word for it is. It's like it's cleansing the palate, sort of thing. Admittedly, I've fallen out of love with Peter Parker as a character. I think he's a whiny little prick. I just don't really care for him that much anymore. I don't really have that like. The thing is, Peter Parker is like sold and marketed as like the everyman guy. It's like, oh, this is the person that everyone can relate to as a superhero, like all young people. I don't relate to him at all. I just look at him and I'm like, dude, you're a whiny little prick. That's just me. And I just read this at one sitting, and it was just great. It's just like a fun little crossover. I wasn't expecting anything like amazing, but it was just really good for what it was. I loved it. It was just fun. I'd give this to a kid. I'd give this to anyone. Miles is just such a damn good character. He's just full of such wonder and awe, and it was just so great to see it. And I hope they do this again. I hope they do something like this again. Well, it might not happen with the way that Superior is going, but who knows? So yeah, Spider-Man, check that out. Next, this might be a little bit out of left field. I don't really follow cartoons or kids shows or anything like that. I know that there are subcultures going on, such as the brony movement or anything like that. And hey, watch what you want to watch and do what you want to do. That's my opinion on it. But there is one bit of children's entertainment programming that I absolutely love and I make no apologies for. And I'm very vocal on my adoration for it. Adventure Time. I love Adventure Time. I think it's one of the best shows on television right now. The Adventure Time comic is being published through Kaboom Studios. They also got the rights to Peanuts, Charlie Brown, Regular Show, and some other stuff, I believe. But for those of you who don't know what Adventure Time is, it's a cartoon on the Cartoon Network. It's done by Frederator. I believe they did Fairly Odd Parents, which is another cartoon that I like. And it's created by Pendleton Ward. And Adventure Time is basically Dungeons and Dragons for kids. But it's also for adults. Like, there's so many jokes put in there for adults. And it's not cheap. They're so smart about it, and honestly, it doesn't lose touch with the fact that this still is for kids. It's got good morals in it, and it's it's basically like every single kid show has to have like a moral or something to tie it together to teach it kids. I remember listening to a podcast about Jeff Loeb talking about when he was doing Ben 10, how on the script they would always have to say what the moral of each episode was or something like that. And basically, Adventure Time, it still has the morals and it teaches very, very good ones. And it's funny as hell. The animation is amazing. It's disturbing and dark at times. And it's awesome. You know, it's got action figures. It's got a video game which I have for 3DS. You know, the seasons are coming out on DVD and Blu-ray. I still got to get the Blu-ray ones, although I do have season 1 on DVD over there. And it's finally on Netflix, well, American Netflix. And they have comics, and they have a bunch of different comics going on. They have like say if you don't want to read just the regular Adventure Time book, there's Adventure Time. There's an Adventure Time book about Marceline right here, the Vampire Queen. There's an Adventure Time comic specifically about Fiona and Cake, which is the gender bent version of Finn and Jake, the main characters. There's so many like spin-off titles, and they all are done by webcomic creators, and they're all done as labors of love. I mean, Paul Pope did a fucking issue. Paul Pope did an issue of Adventure Time, and he did a tribute to Mobius in it. How fucking amazing is that? Adventure Time is the shit. I love it. I make no apologies for it. And to those of you who would be like, that's fucking weird, honestly, sit down, watch an episode of Adventure Time, tell me you don't laugh at it. It's fun. You will feel like a child again. It is just good shit. Adventure Time's amazing. And the comic was really good too. Okay, last of the trades that I picked up. Again, it's another Marvel one. Like, lately, I've been wanting to get some more Marvel stories in my shelf there. And, you know, I'm looking at a lot of the classic Marvel stories, you know, like Dark Phoenix and so on and so forth. You know, God Loves, Man Kills, Days of Future Past. And, you know, I'm looking at all that stuff, and I want to get it, but I don't really feel like ordering that much. I probably will do a big order soon, as I'm probably going to be getting paid soon. But at my store, they had a couple of trades of this book lying around, and I was like, I need to get that. And did I ever get that? The motherfucking Infinity Gauntlet by Jim Starlin, George Perez, and someone else does the other issues. Ron Lim. Okay. Thanos was at the end of the Avengers. We all know that. And we're pretty sure that Avengers 2 is going to be like Infinity Gauntlet because, A, it's got the Guardians of the Galaxy coming up, and, you know, people are thinking about how that's going to tie in and all that shit. B, well, that's what Thanos is most known for, and that's where he first appeared. I believe that's where he first appeared. And C, you know, there's a new Thanos series that's coming out soon. It's coming out this summer, I believe, written by Jonathan Hickman, and it's called Infinity. Well, then again, every single event that had Thanos in it had Infinity in the title, but this one's just called Infinity. So, I'm pretty sure, like, it's a safe bet that the Infinity Gauntlet is going to be the basis of Avengers 2. And for that, I say, hell fucking yes. I'm currently reading it. As you can see, my bookmark there. I'm not very far. It's 6 issues, but these are long issues. Like, this is an old school series from like '91. And one of my really good buddies that I always get comics with is huge into Thanos. Doctor Doom and Thanos are his characters that he loves, and he got the Infinity Gauntlet because he's just like, dude, Thanos seems like the shit. And he got Infinity Gauntlet, then he got Infinity Crusade. He has like, I'm pretty sure he has like all of the Infinity events. And And like he's like, dude, you gotta read Infinity Gauntlet. You fucking have to read Infinity Gauntlet. And I'm reading it so far, and it is not disappointing. It's a little slow, I'll say that. But then again, it's a huge event, a huge cosmic event. Basically, what happens shortly, but I'm pretty sure most of you know this. Thanos is in love with Death. Death is a woman, and he's in love with her. And basically, Death hires him to basically kill a fuck ton of people, like pretty much most of the people on Earth. And instead he tricks her, and then he finds the Infinity Gems, which form the Infinity Gauntlet, basically making him omnipotent. I'm not good with that word. And he's basically a god at this point, and he can do anything, and he's stronger than Death herself. And so and he's still trying to woo Death, but she's just giving him the silent treatment the whole time. And he's got too much fucking hubris to realize that, she's not into him. So then basically he kills off half the world population, and the Avengers realize it, and then it's a rallying up the troops, and yeah, we gotta go kick this Titan's ass. I'm just so fucking pumped to be reading this. It's just so good. And the artwork is amazing, and everything about it is amazing, so check it out. Alright, so that's it for the stuff that I got on Wednesday. Now for that giant fucking haul that I've been talking about for so long, and I never got around to filming. I got a couple of prestige-sized stuff, or prestige format. Basically, back in the 80s and stuff like that, they came up with this new format of publishing and printing comics called the prestige format. Dark Knight Returns was prestige format. What else was prestige format? That was like, I think Ronin by Frank Miller might have been prestige. I can't really remember. But basically, it's like nicer printing quality, better paper stock, and all that shit. And more page counts and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's a higher price. But they mostly did it for like maxi series or mini series or whatever. And the first one I have, a complete thing, World's Finest, written by Dave Gibbons. Yes, the Dave Gibbons who drew Watchmen, with art by Steve Rude and Carl Kessel. And this was published in 1990. Basically, this is them doing a Batman-Superman story. And this is issues 1, 2, and 3. And that's the entire thing. Basically, I haven't read it yet. I've been reading a shit ton. And basically, just, I believe, like, Joker goes to Metropolis, and Lex Luthor goes to Gotham. And so then, paths cross and all that shit. Sounds awesome, and hey, I'm on for it. And it wasn't that much. The last prestige size thing, and this is something really, really cool that I never even knew existed. OMAC by John Byrne. OMAC is a Jack Kirby creation. It stands for One Man Armored Corps, something like that. It's basically, there's this satellite called Brother Eye in the sky, and it like shoots down this beam on this dorky kind of person, and it basically turns them into this BAMF. And yeah, like it got rebooted with the DC New 52. Like they've struggled for years to use OMAC, which is kind of a sin because it seems like such a cool idea. I mean, it's something Jack Kirby created. I mean, how bad can it be, right? And this is Jack Kirby's take on the character, and this was done in 1991. And the artwork is raw, and it's awesome. Like, look at that fucking first page. Look at that. Oh, I can't wait to read this. Yeah, that's the prestige stuff, and now we got some single issues. First, here's 2 number 1s. Starman by James Robinson and Tony Harris. And I've got the omnibuses over there, and it's good stuff. But ironically, this isn't even the first issue. The first issue was a 0 issue because back then they had this marketing thing where it's like, oh, after the event 0 hour, they started off with all new Zero issues. Remind you anything? Yeah. Hokey back then, hokey now. And ironically, I think Starman was the only one that lasted. Next is The Invisibles #1, Grant Morrison and Steve Yao. Never got around to reading The Invisibles yet. Hopefully sometime I will get the giant-ass omnibus collection of it. I love Grant Morrison. At this point, he's pretty much my favorite comics writer. Yeah, I'm just really pumped to dig into that. This is something really cool. This is a special or an annual, whatever. Superman by Walt Simonson. And it also includes artwork from Frank Miller, Barry Windsor Smith, Curt Swan and Art Thibert, John J. Muth, Michael Golden, Jeff Darrow, and Todd McFarlane. This was published in 1992, year I was born. And just look at that cover. Look at that. Oh man, that is so awesome. And finally, this is something really, really cool. A 6-part miniseries. Basically, when Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, basically they had to reboot the origins for DC's Golden Gooses, and one of them was Batman Year One. The other one, Man of Steel, by John Byrne. Now this is 2 copies of the first issue. This is the variant cover, and this is the regular one. And basically, you know, John Byrne wrote it and drew it, and it was inked by Dick Giordano, who was like one of the higher muckety mucks at DC at the time. And it's funny because I don't believe that there's a trade paperback version of this currently. I was reading through the first issue one day, and it is an old comic. It's I don't think it aged that well, but hey, you know, it's Ground Zero, and it was the origin for so many years up until Birthright, which I think is the definitive origin, and then it got retconned like 6 years later for fucking Secret Origin, which I never read, but still, Birthright was amazing. But yeah, you know, this is history, and it's weird that DC didn't make a new trade paperback version of it to coincide with the movie coming out in a couple of weeks, because let's face it, this is called The Man of Steel. What's the new Superman movie called? Man of Steel. It makes sense, and it doesn't even matter quality-wise. It would still sell a fuck ton of books. Like, honestly, that's just blundering on their business part. Like, as shitty as All-Star Batman and Robin is, it's smart for them to keep publishing it because people want to buy it because it's written by Frank Miller and drawn by Jim Lee. As shitty as that comic was. I digress. So there's 2 copies of issue 1. Issue 2, there's Lois. Fucking love Lois Lane. Lois Lane's the shit. Issue 3, there's Batman and some weird looking villain whom I never heard of and probably won't care about. Issue 4. And issue 5. There's Bizarro. Oh yeah, and issue 4 had Lex Luthor on it. Yuppie Lex Luthor. So yeah, I don't have issue 6, unfortunately. They didn't have a copy at the used bookstore there. But yeah, all in all, that was a great haul. Got some damn good trade paperbacks, got some damn good old issues, and yeah, all in all, I got some good stuff. Sorry it took so long to make this video. It's just that I'm lazy and I lack the inhibition, but whatever. Above all, you know, been reading a lot, been reading Bone, been reading Infinity Gauntlet, and finally have a job and just living life. So, thanks for watching, and Cheers.